So it occurred to me that I should explain a little bit more about the relationship between elitism and the great filter. The great filter is the term used for whatever it is that has prevented intelligent life from elsewhere in the universe from making contact with us, coming here, making itself obvious. And this general area of inquiry is known as the Fermi paradox. Enrico Fermi in 1950 was having lunch with a bunch of other famous scientists, and they remarked that you could calculate the likelihood that there was intelligent life elsewhere in the world and elsewhere in the universe, and it was quite obvious that it should have shown up, it should have given evidence of itself, and it obviously hasn't. So he says, where is everybody? And Robin Hanson then fine-tuned this a little bit more by postulating that there is this great filter. And you can read the entries about the great filter and all the different things that might account for it and when it might occur. Could occur during the very primitive life stage, or it could occur after the stage that human beings are at on this planet. But in answer to a question on September the 9th, I started talking about elitism, and I think elitism is interesting in this instance, because everybody who's talked about this, everybody who's written about it, you would say is already part of a very elite group, and they're all male and they're all white and so on. And so there's very little diversity in the background of people speculating about what the great filter is. But as far as I know, no one has previously suggested that this idea of being elite, being very selective, not having diversity, was perhaps the cause of the great filter. So in February 2008, I wrote an essay about the fact that female leadership, it seemed to me, would be particularly suitable for the time when the singularity happens and the years thereafter. Now, why would that be? Because male leadership has been pretty good up until now. Men are good at faking the presence of knowledge when they don't have it, acting like they know what they're doing when they're not. I think men are better at that than women, and being brave in uncertain circumstances. You can imagine a future where you will never not have the information. You'll always have the information. You may need to sort it, you may have too much information, but the idea of making decisions without having the information will never be a problem. And it's much more valuable to collaborate, to respect the input of others, to be nurturing, and not to be territorial. If you've listened to any of the lectures from David Pierce, you know that he has postulated that if every world leader was a woman, that the number of deaths from war would go way down, because women can be cruel, women can be evil, but they don't seem inclined to take over territory. And a lot of wars have to do with this acquisition of new territory. Women don't seem to do that. Even Margaret Thatcher, when you think about the Falklands, she didn't start the war, and she was really just keeping what she had. It was not taking over new territory. So although it's politically unacceptable to say that every world leader would be a woman, it would presumably save hundreds of thousands of lives. So I think this is worth considering. It is to me, very possible that it's absolutely right that the filter is beyond the point that we're at now. That, you know, civilizations elsewhere probably reached the point that we're at. But before they colonize the universe, something happens. And I think if you examine, for instance, the Lifeboat Foundation, which has exactly that goal, and I know I'm on the board of the Lifeboat Foundation, so they are going to choose, you know, an elite group of human beings. They're going to leave the planet Earth and, you know, start a new life somewhere else if things go really bad here. And you will find it's a largely male group, it's a largely white group, it's heavily Silicon Valley based. It is, you know, elite in every way you can think of. And maybe in other worlds, the same thing happens. That somehow the selection of the people, the, you know, individuals, the beings who are assigned a task of colonizing the universe is wrong. It's not diverse enough. They're not peace-loving enough. They're not, you know, collaborative enough. And that this is the reason for the great filter. So I think in this course you experience a lot of diversity and balance, and that perhaps diversity in female leadership is a way to avoid the great filter, and it would be great for the world in a lot of other ways that I outline in that essay. So the diversity in this technology and future of medicine course may save the world. Who knows? I'm just kidding, but I suppose that no one, what you become quite, you know, convinced about when you read about this is nobody really knows, and none of the candidate theories sound all that great. So I think this is perhaps as good as any of the other ones of what the filter is and when it applies and so on.